Nobody living today was alive 1,000 years ago, and nobody was here 300 years ago either. For those reasons, none of us can say we really understand history. We form ideas based on what we think are the facts, but when those facts shift, our understanding has to shift with them. In this video, we're taking a look at 15 of the most amazing ancient finds that changed the past. And if you're new here, smack that subscribe button so never miss any of our future videos. Alright, with that being said, let's start this countdown with number 15, Mara Syria. When archaeologist Glenn Schwartz found a small clay object in Syria's ancient city of Mara back in 2004, he had no idea he might be holding the oldest known alphabet. The clay fragments, broken into 4 finger-sized pieces, are covered with distinct characters, each bearing signs of a structured language. The find is about 4,300 years old, predating the Egyptian alphabet by nearly 500 years. Schwartz identified symbols resembling letters like J, K, L, and O. While he hasn't been able to form complete words yet, he's convinced this is a true proto-alphabet. If his claim holds up, it could flip the script on where and when writing systems began. Some historians push back on the theory, arguing the characters don't represent a full alphabet. But Schwartz remains confident. Whether or not this sparked the alphabet of Egypt, it shows that people in ancient Syria were already thinking in letters, not just pictures, long before anyone thought they were. Well, have you ever thought why ancient people chose the East more than the West? Number 14. Ancient climate prediction in China. In 2015, a haunting message carved into a cave wall in the Qin Mountains of China resurfaced after centuries of silence, and its warning was terrifyingly accurate. Dated to around 500 years ago, the inscription foretold 7 major droughts spanning 1520 to 1920, and every one of them happened. But it didn't stop at forecasting dry spells. The anonymous writer also predicted what would follow: starvation, cultural conflict, and even cannibalism as desperation took hold. It was found inside the Dayu Cave, a region heavily influenced by monsoons. During summer, these rains account for nearly 70% of the area's water supply. That makes the warning even more chilling. Scientists now believe the inscription might be more than just historical documentation. It may be a formula for predicting future droughts. Following its pattern, experts are expecting another severe drought in the late 2030s. Whether the prophecy continues to hold true remains to be seen. But the level of foresight buried in those cave walls is hard to ignore. Number 13. The Magdala Stone. Discovered in 2009 within the ruins of an ancient synagogue near the Sea of Galilee, this stone became one of Israel's most talked about archaeological finds. It dates back to a moment when Judaism and early Christianity briefly intersected between 20 BCE and 70 CE. What makes this stone so remarkable isn't just its age, but its symbolism. Carved into its side is a 7-branch menorah, a depiction rarely found in that era, especially within a synagogue. Its presence hints the stone's carver had seen the Second Temple standing in Jerusalem with their own eyes. Some scholars argue this find upends long-held beliefs about early synagogues being purely communal spaces. The religious symbolism here says otherwise. There's even speculation, though unproven, that Jesus may have taught inside this synagogue, since Magdala is thought to be the home of Mary Magdalene. Regardless of that theory, the stone remains an irreplaceable piece of history, offering a rare glimpse into a spiritual world just before the fall of the Second Temple. Number 12. Amazonian Earthworks. In 2018, a major archaeological survey deep in the Brazilian Amazon revealed something few expected: evidence of a vast, interconnected society that existed long before European contact. Researchers identified more than 80 earthworks, raised roads, ceremonial plazas, farming zones, and defensive structures, all hidden beneath dense forest cover. These settlements suggest that between the 13th and 16th centuries, over 1 million people may have lived in this networked civilization. That number alone challenges long-held beliefs that the rainforest was too wild or infertile to support complex societies. Using a mix of satellite scans, ground-based radar, and on-site excavation, scientists began mapping the full extent of this hidden world. Some of the geometric patterns etched into the land stretch over 1,000 feet in length, resembling geoglyphs. These findings directly challenge earlier assumptions, particularly from Western scholars, that tropical regions couldn't support urban development. The Amazon, once thought to be untouched, turns out to have been shaped and lived in by a civilization far more advanced than we once imagined. And let's be real, no one has fully explored the Amazon. Number 11. Pharaoh Horm sits. Historical erasure. Toward the end of the 18th dynasty, Pharaoh Horm took drastic steps to rewrite Egypt's recent past. He didn't build monuments to his glory, he dismantled those of the kings who ruled before him. Temples built by Akhenaten at Karnak were destroyed. The name of Tutankhamun was scraped from walls and replaced. Even Amenhotep III, grandfather of the boy king, had his legacy chipped away. Horemheb wasn't just erasing names, he was trying to erase an entire ideology of previous guys. Akhenaten's shift toward monotheism had left a deep mark, one Horemheb considered heretical. So he set out to bury that memory. Egyptians were forbidden to speak their names aloud, and for a time it worked perfectly. Much of Tutankhamun's story only returned to light in modern times. But Horemheb's effort, while super intense, ultimately failed. The kings he tried to erase are now among the most famous in Egyptian history. And in a strange twist of fate, his obsession with deleting the past only made it more memorable. Number 10. Morotopicus discovery. Back in 1997, a fossilized ape was unearthed in Moroto, Uganda, and it sparked a debate that still hasn't cooled down. This ancient primate, known as Morotopicus, might just push our understanding of great ape evolution back millions of years. Its evolutionary placement has stirred controversy, but some scientists believe it connects directly to modern great apes, more so than gibbons, and possibly older than we ever thought. Estimates place it at over 18 million years old, predating most known branches. Recent studies suggest it diverged before the lineage of living great apes even took shape. However, there are still doubts, and they are very big. Some people argue it's not a distinct species at all, but just another name for Afropithecus. If that's true, the excitement might be a little premature. Still, whether or not it rewrites our entire family tree, Morotopithecus opens a fascinating window into early ape evolution, one that might bring us a little closer to understanding where we came from. What do you think? What's our origin? Number 9. Great Yellow River Flood. The legend of the Great Flood in China's Yellow River Basin has floated through centuries of oral history. But in 2016, that myth turned into measurable fact. Archaeologists found clear physical evidence that such a flood really happened, and it wasn't just a seasonal surge. Sediment layers revealed that a massive destructive flood tore through the region around 1920 BCE, a few hundred years later than previously believed. This timeline shift challenges the accepted origin story of the Xia dynasty, which was thought to rise immediately after this natural disaster. If the flood happened later, then the birth of early Chinese civilization might have happened later too. The flood itself wasn't just water, it was transformative. It changed landscapes, shaped political power, and possibly laid the foundation for China's first ruling dynasty. Whether or not Emperor Yu really engineered its control, the disaster itself is no longer just legend, it's real, and its timing reshapes how we understand the earliest chapters of China's long history. Number 8. Shell Mittens in the Gulf of Mexico. In March 2021, archaeologists studying submerged regions near the Gulf of Mexico came across two unusual shell midden sites that changed how we understand early coastal settlements. These weren't random piles of natural shells as you see normally. Every sign pointed to human activity. The sites date back thousands of years, to a time when the sea hadn't yet swallowed the coastline. That revelation pushed the timeline of human habitation in this region back by centuries. But that's the half, even more intriguing. The Mittens hint at a deep relationship between early First Nations communities and coastal seascapes, long before rising sea levels transformed the terrain. These findings are rare in the southern United States, where shell middens are hardly ever preserved. The fact that they're still intact despite centuries of sea level rise is remarkable. Researchers now believe that similar sites might be waiting to be discovered beneath other coastal waters, potentially rewriting migration patterns and ancestral connections that have been long buried underwater. Alright guys, now let's talk about number 7. Ancient Copper Workshop. In 2020, a team of archaeologists completed a detailed 3-year study near Beersheba in Israel's Negev desert. What they uncovered was nothing short of amazing: a copper smelting workshop over 6,500 years old. The site dates back to the Chalcolithic period and may contain the earliest known furnace. Built from tin and lined with copper ore residue, the structure suggests this wasn't a basic fire pit, it was a planned, high-functioning operation. Even more impressive, the copper ore came from Wadi Fainan, over 60 miles away in present-day Jordan. That means whoever ran this workshop was part of a large, coordinated network involving mining, transport, and metallurgical expertise. Huge amounts of copper slag were found nearby, reinforcing the theory of full-scale production. Some researchers now believe the site was intentionally built in isolation, perhaps to guard the smelting techniques. If that's true, these ancient metallurgists may have been keeping technological secrets long before such knowledge was ever written down. Number 6. Mammoth DNA Breakthrough. In February 2021, scientists sequenced the oldest DNA ever recovered from the remains of 3 ancient mammoths found near Siberia's Krestovka River. One of these creatures died over 1.2 million years ago, and its genetic code opened the door to an entirely new understanding of mammoth evolution. The research revealed a lineage that predates the well-known woolly mammoth and eventually mixed with them to produce the Columbian mammoth, a hybrid species that roamed North America around 420,000 years ago. This challenged the long-held belief that mammoths only crossed into North America 100,000 years ago. Many of the traits we've long associated with woolly mammoths, like thick fur and fat layers, might have actually started with their Siberian ancestors. This unexpected genetic legacy pushes the timeline of mammoth migration and hybridization back by hundreds of thousands of years. And just like that, an ancient tusk pulled from frozen ground managed to flip the script on everything we thought we knew about mammoth history. Have you seen those cute abnormal holy mouse? Number 5. Ling Wuong Shenqi. High in the hills of northwest China, paleontologists unearthed the remains of a long-necked dinosaur with a name as striking as its history: Ling Wuong Shenqi, or Amazing Dragon. This wasn't just another sauropod, it marked a major shift in how scientists date the evolution of these giants. Ling Wuong lived 174 million years ago, which puts it 15 million years earlier than any other known advanced sauropod. Before this, it was thought that such dinosaurs developed much later. This new timeline suggests sauropods were evolving more rapidly and earlier than expected. Even more significant, its existence implies that Asia remained connected to other landmasses at the time, allowing dinosaurs to spread across continents. The fossil discovery doesn't just fill a gap, it redraws the whole sauropod family tree. Ling Wuong might not be the mythical dragon of legends, but in the world of paleontology, it's every bit as surprising. It rewrites when, and possibly where, some of the largest animals in Earth's history first began their rise. Number 4. Sakara Sarcophagy. The necropolis at Sakara has always been an important archaeological site, but in January 2021, it offered up something that completely reshaped its timeline. A vertical burial shaft revealed more than 50 wooden sarcophagi, each around 3,600 years old, dating back to the New Kingdom era. Before this discovery, Sakara was believed to have been primarily used just 2,500 years ago. That assumption is now gone. What makes the find even more fascinating is the wide range of individuals buried there. High-ranking officials, warriors, farmers, all laid to rest in the same shaft. One soldier still had his battle axe beside him. Among the items retrieved were wooden boat models, symbolic board games, and a 20-foot scroll from the Book of the Dead. These relics offer a rare glimpse into daily life and spiritual beliefs across classes in ancient Egypt. There's so much information packed into this find that some Egyptologists believe it might lead to the naming of an entirely new chapter in Egyptian history. Number 3. Silver Plaque Fragment. In 2013, a silver plaque fragment found in South Karelia opened new questions about Finland's early cultural links. Nothing like it had ever turned up in this region before. The fragment carries design elements closely tied to Gotland, an island that now belongs to Sweden. It was uncovered by a metal detectorist in Rautjärvi, and it's dated to the Merovingian period, between the 7th and 9th centuries. Traditionally, this part of Finland was believed to have been settled by the Sami people before others arrived and pushed them north. But this artifact doesn't fit that narrative. Its resemblance to Gotlandic craftsmanship hints at either trade connections or possible settlement overlaps we haven't considered before. Either way, it challenges the idea of cultural isolation in early Finland. Whether this piece belonged to a traveler, a local, or someone passing through remains a mystery, but its presence forces a rethink of who lived in this region and how interconnected Northern Europe might have been during the Iron Age. Number 2. Bronze Age Burial Box. In 2014, archaeologists in Dartmoor uncovered a stone burial box unlike anything seen before in Bronze Age Britain. It was found high on Whitehorse Hill, nearly 2,000 feet above sea level, a location so remote it takes nearly an hour to reach on foot even today. Inside the box were the cremated remains of a woman, wrapped in bearskin and accompanied by objects that were remarkably advanced for their time: Baltic amber, delicate wooden ear studs, and small items showing evidence of both metalwork and wood turning. This wasn't just a burial, it was a message. Whoever she was important enough to be honored with care, jewelry, and rare materials, and to be taken to one of the most inaccessible places in the area. The craftsmanship and imported goods challenge what we thought we knew about Bronze Age trade, technology, and social hierarchy. No settlement has ever been found nearby, which makes her final resting place all the more mysterious and deliberate. Number 1. The mysterious Yellow Gate of Memphis. The palace of Pharaoh Amasis, built over 2,500 years ago in Memphis, was an architectural marvel for its time. Among its grand features stood a gate lined with detailed limestone reliefs. Only fragments remain today, but one detail continues to puzzle experts: a peculiar shade of yellow paint. Ancient Egyptians typically used a pigment called orpiment to achieve yellow tones, which contains arsenic. But analysis of the paint on this gate revealed more traces of lead, antimony, and even a wax coating. These components mirror the makeup of lead tin yellow, a pigment believed to have first appeared in Europe during the Middle Ages. It was famously used in works like Vermeer's The Milkmaid, painted in 1657. Yet here it is, thousands of years earlier in ancient Egypt. This unexpected chemical mix suggests the pigment wasn't a European invention at all, but rather an Egyptian formula lost to time and later reinvented. It challenges everything we thought we knew about the timeline of artistic innovation. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.